Acquiring a business? BizNexus simplifies it. Access thousands of updated opportunities in our DIY marketplace or supercharge team sourcing with OmniSource, your all-in-one platform for on-market, off-market, and coming-soon deals. Scale smarter today. Learn more or book a demo at www.biznexus.com.
Disclaimer from the always present legal team. Podcast conversations don't necessarily reflect the views of BizNexus Incorporated. Everything you hear is informational news and updates from around the industry. We're not recommending any investments. We're not offering any investment advice. Be sure to do your own homework.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We pull apart compelling sources, really digging in to extract the vital wisdom, helping you grasp complex stuff quickly. Today, we're diving into the mind of, well, arguably the greatest investor ever, Warren Buffett. We want to understand his philosophy on mergers and acquisitions, M&A. But here's the thing. We're going beyond just, balance sheets and deals. We're looking for principles that offer real insights for anyone making big decisions. Career moves, buying something major, even personal commitments.
That's exactly right. And for this, our main source is straight from the man himself, Warren Buffett's 2019 Berkshire Hathaway letter to shareholders. And this isn't some dry corporate report, not at all. It's surprisingly candid. He talks honestly about M&A, the wins, sure, but also the struggles, even the outright failures. It's a rare peek behind the curtain.
Yeah, unfiltered. And our mission for you today, it's pretty clear. We're sifting through all that, finding those potent, actionable insights. The goal is to give you those aha moments, things you can actually use. We want to show how these M&A ideas are, powerful guides for just making good decisions, whatever the context. Okay, so let's jump right in with something that honestly might surprise you, especially coming from the Oracle of Omaha himself. You'd think someone like Buffett, with his track record, he'd have a perfect score buying companies, right? Almost flawless. But he actually admits to what he calls an uneven record in acquisitions. When you first encountered that, what did you think? That's quite an admission.
Oh, it's incredibly powerful, isn't it? That kind of openness just shatters that myth of, infallibility around figures like him. He says it directly, and I think his exact words are worth hearing. Let me see. Over the years, Berkshire has acquired many dozens of companies, all of which I initially regarded as good businesses. Some, however, proved disappointing. More than a few were outright disasters. And then he adds, a reasonable number, on the other hand, have exceeded my hopes.
Wow. Outright disasters.
Yeah. And this isn't just some throwaway line. It's like lesson number one for anyone making big choices. It tells you, hey, even with the best research, the best intentions, setbacks happen. Failures happen. It's part of it. And accepting that, instead of chasing some impossible perfect streak, that's really the first step towards making smarter, maybe more resilient decisions down the line.
That really sets a candid tone, doesn't it? So, okay, building on that honesty about, inevitable bumps in the road, Buffett then gives what I think is maybe his golden rule for buying companies. Be rigorous, not romantic. And he uses this analogy that it really hits home. It stuck with me. He says acquisitions are similar to marriage.
The marriage analogy. Yeah.
Exactly. He says they start, of course, with a joyful wedding, but then reality tends to diverge from prenuptial expectations. And he goes on, making it even clearer. Sometimes, wonderfully, the new union delivers bliss beyond either party's hopes. In other cases, disillusionment is swift. And then the key part for buyers. Applying those images to corporate acquisitions, I'd have to say it is usually the buyer who encounters unpleasant surprises. It's easy to get dreamy-eyed during corporate courtships. So why is that marriage comparison so spot on? And why is it usually the buyer who gets caught out?
Well, the marriage thing is genius because it taps into something fundamentally human, doesn't it? How emotion, how optimism can just blind us.
Yeah.
In any kind of courtship, a business deal, a new job, whatever, there's that initial excitement, that rush. We tend to focus on the best case scenario, right? We might ignore little red flags, project our hopes onto it instead of looking at the cold, hard facts. And that leads straight to what Buffett calls those unpleasant surprises. It's like classic confirmation bias. You look for stuff that backs up your excitement, not stuff that challenges it. And that's exactly why he hammers on rigor. It's about having a disciplined process, using data, constantly questioning your own assumptions, actively looking for the downsides before you commit.
It's such a powerful warning against seeing things through rose-tinted glasses, which we all do sometimes. But here's a question, though. While rigor sounds crucial, is there maybe a danger of becoming too rigorous? Like, can a purely data-driven approach sometimes make us miss really innovative stuff? Things that don't quite fit the spreadsheet but feel intuitively very strong. Or maybe the other way around, do we sometimes overanalyze until we're stuck, missing good chances because we're chasing perfection that just isn't there?
That's a really great point. It gets to the heart of decision-making, doesn't it? Because Buffett, I don't think he's arguing for analysis paralysis. He's arguing for informed rigor. There's a difference between being skeptical and just being cynical, right? Or between being thorough and just being obsessive. He's saying don't let pure emotion drive the bus. The romance he's warning about isn't passion or having a vision. It's that unchecked optimism, the kind that skips the hard questions, skips the due diligence.
Okay, so it's not about killing intuition entirely.
Exactly. Sometimes the numbers aren't all perfect, but the core logic, maybe the people involved, they're just incredibly solid. So you need that rigorous framework, absolutely. But you also need to be flexible enough to spot those unique opportunities that don't fit the standard mold.
Wow.
It's about grounding your gut feeling in solid research, not letting your gut feeling just steamroll all the caution signs.
Right, informed rigor, not rigid inflexibility. That makes sense. So, okay, if even Buffett himself admits to this uneven record and warns us off these purely emotional, romantic decisions, how does he actually manage his portfolio? You know, at Berkshire Hathaway, he clearly holds on to both winners and, as he calls them, disasters. How does he make that work? How does he balance it?
Well, this is where his strategy of, let's call it, spreading your bets really shines. But it's more sophisticated than just basic diversification. It's a masterclass in dynamic capital allocation. Buffett doesn't just diversify for the sake of it. He actively manages how capital flows within that portfolio of businesses based on how they're actually performing. He points out that as the years pass, the poor business tends to stagnate, thereupon entering a state in which its operations require an ever smaller percentage of Berkshire's capital.
Okay, so they naturally shrink in importance.
Precisely. That's crucial. He doesn't necessarily rush to sell them off. They just become less significant in the grand scheme of things, capital-wise.
Interesting. So they sort of fade relative to the others?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And then the opposite happens with the winners. He notes, our good businesses often tend to grow and find opportunities for investing additional capital at attractive rates. So this creates this virtuous cycle. The winners get bigger, they find good ways to use more money, and the assets employed at Berkshire's winners gradually become an expanding portion of our total capital.
Right, so the successful ones just keep attracting more resources.
That's where the magic is. Buffett intelligently feeds his winners. He lets them absorb more and more capital, which fuels their growth and makes them an even bigger part of the whole company. It's very pragmatic, almost you could say Darwinian in a business sense. Find what's working really well, give it more resources, and let the stuff that's not working as well naturally take up less of your finite resources. It's the opposite of just throwing good money after bad, you know.
That's a brilliant way to think about how a portfolio can almost rebalance itself towards success over time. Okay, so let's bring this home. What does all this mean for you listening right now? We've dug into these fantastic insights from Buffett on, huge corporate mergers. But these ideas, they go way beyond the boardroom, don't they? How can someone listening apply these nuggets in their own life?
Oh, absolutely. These are really universal principles for making good decisions, big or small. Think about your personal investments, for instance. Not every stock you pick or fund you choose or maybe even a rental property you buy is going to be a massive success. Buffett's lesson on the uneven record. That just means accepting that some things will disappoint. And that's okay. It's expected. The key is how you approach them. Approach with rigor. Don't just chase the latest hot tip or, what your neighbor did. Do your homework. Understand the risks. Resist getting swept up in just the excitement.
And it's not just money, right? I mean, career decisions, too. You might be looking at a new job offer or thinking about a big career change, maybe starting a side hustle. That initial buzz can make everything seem perfect. It's so easy to get, caught up in the moment. But taking Buffett's advice means hitting pause. Really scrutinizing the downsides, the workload, the company culture, the actual market for your project, applying that same rigor you'd use if millions were on the line.
Exactly that. Or think about big personal commitments. Choosing a school, maybe moving across the country, taking on a huge project like renovating your house. You need that rigor. Research. Plan. Think about worst-case scenarios. Don't just leap because it feels exciting or looks good initially. And then once you're committed, his idea of letting winners run is so important. In your career, say one part of your job really takes off, brings you the most results or satisfaction. Well, maybe it's smart to consciously give that more of your time and energy. Let the less productive stuff naturally shrink in importance instead of feeling like you have to force everything to be equally successful. It's just about being pragmatic, really, and adaptable in how you use your most valuable resources, your time, your energy, your focus.
Wow, what a powerful way to connect Buffett's M&A thinking to everyday life. Just brilliant. So just to recap, the core lessons we've pulled out today from Warren Buffett. First, accept that even great-looking ventures can end up as disasters. Managing your expectations, knowing setbacks are part of the game, that's critical. Second, prioritize rigor over romance. Always. That first rush of excitement, it can lead to those unpleasant surprises. So ground your choices in solid analysis. And finally, strategically spread your bets. Let your winners run. Allow your most successful things, whether they use capital, time, or energy, to naturally get more of your resources. Don't keep propping up things that just aren't working.
Perfectly summarized. And maybe this leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener, to sort of chew on. What corporate courtship, what big decision are you looking at in your own life right now? A job, a project, a commitment? How can this wisdom from Warren Buffett maybe challenge you to approach it with, well, more discipline, maybe less unchecked emotion, and a much clearer eye on where you should really invest your valuable time and focus? We really hope this deep dive has given you some powerful tools for that next big decision.
Thinking of exiting your business or taking on a private equity partner to help you grow faster? BizNexus has you covered. Tap into our network of thousands of best-fit investors, acquirers, and proven M&A advisors, and we'll help you begin the relationship confidentially on your terms, your timeline. Learn more at biznexus.com.